What am I not learning that life is trying to teach me that I keep running away from? Because I really, truly believe we're here to learn.
Yeah.
We came here and our soul chose our exact life direction and positioning and our parents and everything that happened in our lives exactly how it chose it in order for us to learn. But that's hard to digest when you are starting something, when someone does something that is hurtful. And sometimes it's not just stealing or betrayal. Sometimes, it's loved ones that are hurt and are doing things. But there's definitely a reason and there's a purpose. And one of the things I've learned as an executive as well has been to learn how to be more still than in action. Because for people that are doers like you and I, doing something to solve something, that's like second nature at this point.
Yeah.
But sitting and being able to be still enough to listen to what the universe is telling you, to what God is telling you, that is, for doers, I think one of the biggest patterns and things that you got to get into in order to break out of being reaction first humans or operators, right? And that leads me back to the question. So we had betrayal. What's the next obstacle that you faced that really gave you a challenge?
Another challenge is building a team. Building the right type of core team, individuals that can stick and hold the line on their positions. It's taken a lot of time. It's still to today, it's a work in progress. Finding the right people. The thing is, I recruited a lot of my key people at the beginning, and majority are still with me to today because they believed in the vision. One of them's in the room right here, Daniel, my marketing director. And it's hard to find good quality people that align on the same value system that you have. You may not be exactly the same each other. You look through the same telescope. They can see a little bit of the outline. That's enough. You don't need to see the whole picture. But there's a lot of people that look through the telescope and it's blur. So I had to recruit key people. And I was able and fortunate enough to change their lives. But still to today, in the business, it's hard to find key people. You just got to be at some point, you have to be strict to a certain extent on not just allowing anyone to come in, because we get desperate sometimes because we need the help. But you know what? Don't get desperate about it. If you got to put in a little bit more extra, then put a little bit more extra until that shining star does come, because it is worth the wait. That's what I believe from what I learned.
Third struggle that you faced.
Third struggle I faced. My own personal life. There's no personal life. Building, there's no personal life. I struggled with it for a little bit, but I accepted it. And then not being able to do the things I like to do, which is, I love my training. That's something I can't let go. I try to get in as much as I can. And when I do, I have my brother Daniel film content, so we need it.
Yeah.
But I wish I had more time, because then I could go into a program like I'm getting ready for a fight again. Now, when I train like I'm going to war. But I wish I could have a better schedule to my training. The problem I got is I put everyone first. I make sure everyone eats first. I make sure everybody gets taken care of first. I don't know why. Maybe it's just built inside of me. But without me taking care of them, if I'm not there to take care, who else is going to take care of them? And then I'm a big problem. I like to solve problems. I like to find the problems because I'm a perfectionist. I like things done right. So by me indulging myself into this, I'm forgetting about the rest, And I see you smiling because
No, so my spiritual leader told me, Lex, no one needs saving.
No.
And it hit me like a hammer because, generally as a leader, everything you just described is what I would say most leaders struggle with, right? Because you generally are interested for your team to benefit. You want the business to grow. And I will tell you, talking about being a CEO, is the reason why I decided to step down. Because I started to realize that this idea that I have, that in me doing everything else is the way I'm going to grow, it's just a story I was telling myself.
Yeah.
That the reality is that everything that we have is a gift.
Yeah.
And all we are doing is just being a good shepherd of that gift. But we genuinely, this idea that I deserve this based on my hard work comes from an idea that you never had it to begin with. And I believe the opposite. I believe that I am whole, that I am not missing anything, that I don't need anything to change in order for my life to be settled. And I learned that by hitting the wall so many times and struggling with what you're talking about so many times, and finally saying to myself, this idea of how I've been living my life with pain and suffering as the main motivator to grow. And even in happiness, not enjoying even the moment because I'm thinking about the next moment already.
Yeah.
Like so many of my awards, so many of these things that I accomplished, I didn't even take a second till I say, dude, I just did that because I'm already into the next thing.
Yeah.
And it was like stepping back and saying, this is a story. Everything is, my mind doesn't know the difference between truth or false. It just knows what I tell it. And I've been telling it that this is what happens when you become successful.
Yeah.
But if one thing we know from doing sports, from doing anything else, the only way you get better is if you get better. You can have the best trainers in the world. You have the best psychologists in the world. You can have the best of everything. If you are not okay, if you are not straight here, you're going to get in that ring, you're going to get knocked the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when I understood me comes first, me comes second, me come third. And the better I am, the better father I will be. Because all the ideas I have on controlling what my daughter's future is I could do everything and could still fail. How many times have we done everything that we needed to do and the event failed? Didn't make what it did.
100%.
Or and so I started to step back and say, no, I'm going to change my story. I'm going to change the narrative I've been telling myself, and I'm going to start living life as to my mental, my health, my POV of life changing as the number one priority, and everything else will accommodate to that.
You know, I went through a time where my grandfather passed, and I don't mind talking about it like right now. Last night for a long time, I hadn't mourned about it. Last night I mourned. I was in my apartment. I was telling the guys when we were driving here, and my grandfather was a part of my life a lot, more than my own parents.